Okay, Fantasy Bros, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Astrology channel. Week 1 is done, guys. Hope you did good. We got a lot right on this channel. We got some stuff wrong too, but hey, let's move on. We gotta get what we can get while we can get it. Hurry up, guys. Week 1, fantasy storylines. I got a lot to get through, so I'm going to blast through this. But first and foremost, very important, Rachaad White. I just picked him up off my waivers. I dropped Kadarius Toney for him. I know, crazy, right? But hey, if Leonard Fournette is out this week, I'm already trying to spin this guy for I sent out a trade for Rachaad White for Robbie Anderson because running backs are so highly valued, and he has Leonard Fournette. So I'm doing what I can, guys, to find the value and spin it around. Okay, so Rachaad White, the story. What's the story behind him? He's a rookie. Okay, 3rd round draft pick this year. He is a pass catching savant. Okay, he actually prototypes physically very similar to a Leonard Fournette, okay? These guys remind me of each other quite a bit. And it's kind of funny because they're both Capricorns. If you're new to this channel, I am using astrology to find the deeper storyline to draw more meaning and more what is happening within these fields, right? So in the Tampa Bay world, Rachaad White he's already climbed the depth chart. He's already passed Keyshawn Vaughn from last year. It's a super good sign. He's the 2nd on the depth chart. So if Leonard Fournette re-injured his right hamstring from last year, because he was out a couple weeks with a hamstring injury, and that wasn't even enough time. So they ran him a lot. He's got a super cake matchup, hopefully, against the Saints. And so Rachaad White could actually be a huge producer this week. So if you're watching this video, you go out and you get Rachaad White as quick as you can. Moving on. Guys, I have to thank, I believe, Sam. Sam, what's up? He's my fellow astrology fantasy football bro. He always keeps me on my toes. He says, make sure you check out Cooper Rush. Do that in your next video, Cooper Rush. Guys, this is the question I'm asking myself right now. After watching, I saw some of that Dallas game. What I saw was Cooper Rush came in to that game and he started targeting CeeDee Lamb a lot. Okay, now it wasn't efficient. It was 11 targets and 2 receptions, so woefully inefficient, yes. But here's the cool part. Cooper Rush is a Scorpio Sagittarius cusp. And what I'll always tell people about cusp is the latter is the one that is most likely to be expressed. So Cooper Rush is much more likely to be expressing that Sagittarius, right? And so that Sagittarius is pretty much controlled by Aries, right? And what I tell you about Aries this year, Jupiter is in Aries. Big things happen for Aries. So this Cooper Rush coming in could actually be a bigger blessing and compatibility to get more targets, to get CeeDee Lamb rolling in his Jupiter year, okay? So buy low, how low? Send a low ball for this guy if you can. I might send over a Rachaad White if he's deemed the starter, and who knows, I might get him. So just kind of how I'm thinking about things here, guys. Another guy I really wanted to talk about, people wanted to know, I haven't been able to answer this question yet. Robbie Anderson. Okay, the Robbie Anderson, who's going to be good? Is it going to be Robbie Anderson? Is it going to be DJ Moore? We got a new quarterback over there who's in Aries. And so how are these new wide receivers going to pan out? And we saw it this weekend. Now, this is following exactly in a line with how astrology would be, right? You've got the Aries who wants to move right into Taurus, right? You've got the Cardinal that wants to move into Fix, the Fire that wants to move into the Earth. Now, DJ Moore as an Aries, it's a pretty good match, but it's not a true pull. It's not a true draw. Robbie Anderson is a really strong draw from Baker Mayfield. So I expect more, okay? Now, if you're new to astrology, I've talked in years past exactly what's going to happen with DJ Moore in the Robbie Anderson saga. I said with Sam Darnold, you want DJ Moore, okay? I said with Teddy Bridgewater, you're going to want Robbie Anderson. And it's been swinging like this perfect to a T with compatibility with their quarterbacks, okay? So pretty neat to see that starting to happen again. Robbie Anderson could be emerging as the absolute favorite over in Carolina, which is why you should actually be acquiring Robbie Anderson on all those people. There's going to be a lot of people who want to sell high on Robbie Anderson, and it could be actually a big mistake because I see it potentially strongly, especially in astrology, as a season-long trend. Okay, so loving me some Robbie Anderson. Donovan Peoples-Jones, right? Is he the real deal? Nobody's talking about him. It seems like everybody's trying to write him off. Guys, sorry, I am not going to write off 11 targets, okay? He was averaging 10 yards a reception. I believe he had like 6 receptions, 7 receptions in that ballpark. Jacobi Brissett as a Sagittarius, going to Donovan Peoples-Jones as a Pisces. This is the exact same astrology as Joe Burrow going to Jamar Chase, right? And so I love it, guys. It gets even better closer to playoffs, though. We want to pay really close attention closer to playoffs, right? Deshaun Watson is now, I believe, on an 11-game suspension. But as a Virgo, he'll have polar opposite chemistry with Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's getting very familiar and a lot of looks in that offense. So he could be, I like to stash things a couple weeks out. He could be a good week 9 or so stash. But it's definitely somebody to keep your eye on right now. Amari Cooper as a Gemini, he should have better chemistry with Jacobi Brissett for now. But once Deshaun Watson takes over, it could be the DPJ show. Okay? Check that. All right. Van Jefferson. We need to keep a close eye on Van Jefferson. Okay, that Thursday night game was super telling when Stafford targeted Skowronek 6 times and Allen Robinson only twice. Right? Sean McVay sounded clearly, audibly, blatantly upset that Van Jefferson wasn't going to be able to play. Okay? He's frustrated, and he's probably frustrated because Van Jefferson is somewhat of a key component to their offense. He's the deep threat. He's also a Leo, which bodes really well, polar opposite chemistry, tracks like magnets with Matt Stafford. Okay, so Van Jefferson is probably the true number 2. You can sell on Allen Robinson for all I care. Right? Sell on Allen Robinson if anybody will buy him, if you can get a good deal out of him. Look to Van Jefferson as a really cheap, free guy on your waivers if you need receiver help. Could be nice. All right? Next guy I want to talk about, Eno Benjamin. I was watching this game closely with Arizona and Kansas City, and every time I saw this Eno Benjamin guy, I was impressed. Right? That's always been a big thing for me. If they pop it in the eye test, that's the first number 1 factor, but there's more. Eno Benjamin is an Aries, right? Jupiter is in Aries right now for like the next 2 months or so, right? So you really love to see that. James Conner is a Taurus. Guess what Cliff Kingsbury is? Their play caller, right? He's a Leo. Leo and Aries are best buddies. Chase Edmonds was an Aries. Okay? Leo can tend to overuse Taurus. Taurus wants to get away from Leo, right? James Conner's had injury issues in the past. Eno Benjamin is a really sharp ad right now. Really good ad. Speaking of Arizona players who are really good values right now, Rondale Moore. Okay? Marquise Brown, I don't necessarily love his positioning for astrology. AJ Green, not that great. DeAndre Hopkins is good, Virgo. But Rondale Moore as a Gemini, I think I love it probably the most. Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson is the Leo to Gemini combination. I love this astrology. Rondale Moore. It sounded like Cliff Kingsbury was putting an onus on Rondale Moore on his own self, saying we need to use Rondale Moore more often. Okay, so what I see for him is a Deebo Samuel type role, getting some carries, a lot of end arounds. anything they can do to get their ball in his hands. And you might be able to swing Rondale Moore for a cheap trade. If you got him, you can stash him. Great, because the other receivers didn't look that good. That offense looks stagnant through the air for the most part. And they need to do something to add life to that offense, okay? Here we are. We're going to move on to talking about, speaking of that same game, Jerick McKinnon. Guys, McKinnon actually split snaps with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you should be thinking about very seriously selling him high right now. Okay, he split snaps with McKinnon. I believe McKinnon had 8 opportunities with the ball, and Edwards-Helaire had 10. Pacheco had 12, right? Of course, Pacheco was all garbage time. But I've been warning about McKinnon for a long time. And he was seen, I saw him on the sidelines talking to Andy Reid, buddying up with him, getting real close. He should, as a Taurus, have better chemistry than Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a Gemini. Okay? So keep your eye out for Jerick McKinnon, of course. Sell high on Clyde Edwards-Helaire if you got him. Let's talk about Khalil Herbert. I mentioned him last week as like one of the main moves I think everybody should be doing. And he showed it, right? He proved it. Khalil Herbert is the freaking truth. He continues to out-carry his predecessor, right? And David Montgomery continues to be more productive, just like Eno Benjamin was more productive. I know it was very limited for Eno Benjamin, but they look like they're the more productive guys. It seems to me it would only be a matter of time before Khalil Herbert is going to be the main dog. So he's getting more expensive every week. Can we make a trade for Khalil Herbert? Can we get him off waivers? Let's ask these questions. All right. Another one. Carson Wentz and the whole Washington, all the receivers and all that. It's kind of wild, guys. I've never seen Curtis Samuel be anything. He's been the perennial underperformer. But as a Leo, I would suspect out of all those alignments that a Leo coming from Carson Wentz's Capricorn, he wants to move into, that Cardinal wants to move into fixed. Curtis Samuel's the only fixed on there. It could be the real deal, guys. I'm not willing to call that just yet, just because Curtis Samuel has such a terrible track record. Jahan Dotson, as an Aries, is a Cardinal as well, so he gets to stay home. But with Terry McLaurin as a Virgo, that's a mutable sign. They didn't really look Terry McLaurin's way almost at all. And that's probably, they both are earth signs, is good, but it's not the movement forward, right? The Cardinal doesn't move into the mutable, right? So it's a really interesting study. I think one thing we can take from this is Carson Wentz, Ron Rivera is a Taurus, so Carson Wentz could actually have a resurging year with different offensive coordinator. I believe their offensive coordinator, he's a Leo. Right, which bodes more towards Jahan Dotson. So there's some interesting factors going on here. I think for what I like, I think Carson Wentz could have a resurging year, you know, with a decent running game, all that, yada, yada, yada. Decent offensive line. I like Carson Wentz more than I have in a long time. I'm willing to take a chance on Samuel. Definitely trying to get my hand on some Jahan Dotson. Maybe selling a little bit on McLaurin. He's a really challenging one. I'm more on a wait and see than I am with anything with McLaurin. You probably won't get a whole lot for him right now anyway. So maybe you wait till he has a spike week and then you get off of him, something like that. But that's what I'm seeing over there in Washington. Really interesting how things can change when people are in different environments, right? Devin Duvernay, here's another one. He is a Virgo, right? He's an earth sign, along with Lamar Jackson as a Capricorn. He's an earth sign. So this is Devin Duvernay actually has the same astrology as Mark Andrews. So as a Mark Andrews owner, I'm starting to sweat a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm starting to be curious, hey, is this guy going to start taking all my targets the more I'm looking at it, I'm thinking probably not a whole lot to worry about here. But I am going to keep my eye on it. If it starts showing that Devin Duvernay is becoming that alpha Virgo of the group, then I might move off of Andrews and, you know, try to swing. I don't know, Kittle's injured, for example. You could swing, grab a Kittle, hopefully comes back and does something big. I really like Hayden Hurst right now. He got 8 targets. If you don't know, if you need tight end help, I'd be looking at Hayden Hurst. Joe Burrow's going to need an outlet all year long. So these are just some of my thoughts, guys. I hope you dig the video. Get down in the comments and let's talk fantasy football. Peace.